Today I want to share with you my 2022 forecast for OXY. That means a lot of numbers, so it can be a little dry. I will be talking about free cash flow anticipation until end of 2022. When will OXY hit $25 billion in net debt? And my fair value for OXY at this point. Before going into that, I want to give a huge shout out to Mark Lin on his suggestion on my previous video, which is to consider converting all my OXY common shares to OXY warrant for better gain. I had a long discussion with him in the comment section, so feel free to take a look if you're interested. I took his advice, and right now I am currently in the process of converting all my OXY common shares to warrant. I will give you an update when it's done. Let's get back to OXY. Let's take a look at how much free cash flow OXY will generate by the end of 2022. I have all these three assumptions baked into my calculation. First is WTI will average about $75 per barrel in Q4 2021. We only have like 2 weeks left, so I think this is probably an accurate number. And also WTI will average around $60 in 2022. Keep in mind, 60 is a very conservative number based on the calculation or the estimation of EIA. For Q1 2022, they are actually expecting the WTI average to be around $70. So I'm just using $60 in my calculation for all the free cash flow in my 2022, which I believe is super conservative. And the last assumption that I baked in is OXY will not increase their capital expenditure in 2022. With all these assumptions that I baked in, I came to a conclusion of the expected free cash flow by the end of 2022 to be these that I listed below. So in Q4 2021, it will be $2.5 billion. And for every single quarter in 2022, I am expecting a $1.85 billion per quarter. When we add these numbers together, we will get $9.99 billion. That's basically almost 10 bills in free cash flow by the end of 2022. After my free cash flow calculation for OXY towards the end of 2022, the next big question will be, when will OXY hit $25 billion in net debt? Based on OXY's SEC filing of 10Q for Q3 of 2021, the current net debt is at $30.9 billion. So in order to get to $25 billion in net debt, we have to pay back $5.9 billion more. So how can OXY get enough cash to pay back $5.9 billion more in debt? Let's take a look at the recent cash flows. So based on OXY's recent announcement, there is a sale of Ghana asset for $750 million. And based on my calculation for free cash flow is for Q4 is 2.5, and for Q1 in 2022, it will be 1.85, same thing for Q2. With these earnings, with these cash flows, it will give us a total of $6.95 billion in cash. Based on this number that we have here after Q2, we know by the end of Q2, OXY will definitely have more than enough cash to pay back the $5.9 billion debt to get the total net debt level to $25 billion. So simple math here, $6.95 billion minus $5.9, and we still actually have $1.05 billion left of cash to spend after Q2. What comes after hitting $25 billion in net debt for OXY? Based on my calculation from the free cash flow and asset divestiture, by the end of 2022, OXY should be able to generate around $10.74 billion of cash. But after hitting net debt of $25 billion, OXY will have actually $4.84 billion of cash left, because just a simple math here, 10.74 billion minus 5.9 billion, that gives you 4.84 billion. And with all these extra cash that OXY generated from doing business, OXY can either first reward shareholders through dividend or repurchasing back more shares, or secondly, they could pay back more debt. And the third is to reinvest into business for growth. Based on the most recent earnings call with OXY's executive team, they stated that the highest priority will be to raise dividend as a form of rewarding shareholders. And the second one is to continue to pay back more debt. They don't see at this point yet to reinvest more capitals back into business for growth, based on their production now, OXY will be able to sustain the cash flow for years to come. What is the fair value by free cash flow for OXY at this point? Based on my calculation using the free cash flow that will be generated by OXY in 2022, I believe OXY should be worth from $51.8 billion to $74 billion in market cap. And that translates into a stock price of $55 to $79 a share. When you compare that to the current price of OXY and OXY's warrant, you can see that we still have like 89% to grow to hit the lower end of the fair value based on my calculation. And for OXY warrant, it is 169%. Clearly, you see OXY warrant has a higher percentage of growth in comparison to OXY. Some of you might ask why 7 to 10x. Let's take a look at its competitor, what their free cash flow multiple to market cap is. So we have ConocoPhillips here at 8, Exxon at 7.5, Chevron at 10, Royal Dutch Shell at 4.3, and then OXY at 3.66. This is interesting because I also believe like RDS is also vastly undervalued at this point, but I haven't had a chance to dig deeper into what's causing this. Aside from RDS, you can see the other three giants. They actually share a range of 7.5 to 10. So in my calculation, I'm actually using the same thing. So I'm using 7 to 10. Based on my research going back, looking at like 5 years of data for OXY, OXY was in fact trading at approximately 20x of its free cash flow. So my calculation here using like 7 to 10x, I believe this is like a very conservative number because I also want to leave a room for like margin of safety. So as you could see from my view right now, looking at this multiple here, I believe not just OXY, all these other oil giants are also vastly undervalued, but OXY is the best one out there at this point. Keep in mind that my calculations can be slightly off because I did not include every variable in my estimation, such as natural gas prices. However, one thing I believe we can all agree on is that business is recovering fast for OXY. I believe when OXY make the announcement to raise dividend next year, the stock will get a huge boost. I have been doing a lot of research lately and learning a lot more on investing. The more books I read and the more data that I look at for OXY, I just get more and more confident about its return in the next 1 to 2 years. I have been looking at a lot of other stocks lately as well, and some of them are great. But when I compare it to OXY, the potential growth is far behind in the next 1 to 2 years. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment below if you have any questions or topics on what you want me to cover in my future videos. Don't forget to like this video using the like button below if you like the content. Subscribe if you haven't done so you won't miss my future videos. I have also been publishing a daily snapshot of my portfolio on my Twitter account every evening when the market opens. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter if you're interested. I have the links pasted below in the description. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.